Morning, 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 morning. How is everyone's Monday going? All right, so you saw the title, Menopause and Your Gut Health. Before you start sitting there going, well, I had a hysterectomy. This doesn't impact me. Incorrect. You're wrong. We are going to go over that. We're going to talk about why, how, all the good stuff. So now that you're here, got your coffee, tea, water, whatever you drink, let's get to it. All right, so a couple weeks ago, we talked about the female cycle, so menstrual cycles, PMS, as well as your gut health and how it impacts your gut health. And we talked about the estrobolome, right? Little bacteria that live in our gut that specifically helps to metabolize estrogen, right? That's going to play a role here, but because we talked so significantly about it 2 weeks ago, I'm going to minimize that and focus on a couple of other things, mostly because when you go into perimenopause, active menopause, post-menopause, hysterectomies, what you're looking at is, yes, the estrobolome is a factor. Okay, estrogen dominance can still happen if you have minimal estrogen in your body because your body still produces estrogen, even if you're on hormone replacement therapy. Okay, now, when we talk about PMS, we're talking about active reproductive cycles, right? Whether you are having kids, not having kids, whatever that state is. And for those of you out here who are going through fertility, I get you. I was there. I'm not talking about actively trying to get pregnant. I am talking about just those reproductive cycles that triggers our monthly period. Okay. Now, when you're looking at perimenopause, obviously you're doing a bit of a shift. Now, this perimenopause and menopause actually is when you want to pay the closest attention to your gut because everything is changing. You're in transition, okay? It's kind of like puberty. Puberty is another transition for all of us, really. But for females, it's a transition. So anytime you have a transition within hormones, you want to pay special attention because that's when your gut can get thrown off the most, all right? And when that happens, what's occurring is there's either too much of a hormone production within your system not being utilized, not being processed properly because there's an imbalance within the microbiome, right? So some of the symptoms that can actually occur and become worse because of an unhealthy, unbalanced gut are your hot flashes, sweats, your mood, how tired you feel, all right? These are things that can actually be improved with a healthier gut, all right? Now, what I would actually recommend in looking at this, I have not gone into perimenopause yet, you guys. So I haven't experienced this yet. I've experienced my own transition with fertility into pregnancy, postpartum, and then out today. There's a whole story about that, which if you go back, you'll probably find it, but I'll record one coming up in the next couple of weeks. That's going to take a little bit of a strong heart to talk about. So you'll get that, just not ready for it yet. So what we're going to talk about today are your estrogen levels and your progesterone levels. Those are levels that specifically are in transition, okay? They're the ones going up, they're going down, they're going up, they're going down, going all over the place. And what you're really looking for is a balance so that estrogen receptors connect to estrogen molecules. They could be metabolized and utilized throughout the body. They are used for energy. They're used for mood, more specifically mood than energy, but energy impacts mood. It's cyclical. All right. So when you look at menopause and perimenopause transitions, you really want to look at your gut-brain axis. All right. Brain is number one, right? Gut is your second brain, meaning that your gut is actually able to make decisions, dictate what it needs, tell the brain what it needs. There's constant communication. It's like having a president and a VP. Constant communication, right? They have to constantly work together, doing their own jobs. However, producing this well-oiled machine that you live in. It's well-oiled organism. I wrote this down because I wanted to remember it. It kind of popped in my brain as I was thinking about the gut-brain axis. If you look at your brain as president, CEO, controller, right? Your gut, digestive function, elimination function, everything that lives within your gut is your data control center. Does that make a little bit of sense? So the data control center needs all of the pieces to operate, right? Needs a healthy dose of everything. It's got a list of things it needs. It's going to tell you what it doesn't have that it needs. Comes into play with perimenopause, menopause, active menopause, after hysterectomy, all of it. Now, when we talk hysterectomy, I'm gonna talk about it for just a smidge. We're actually going to talk specific hysterectomy. If there's a situation in any way, shape, or form, some hysterectomies, they only remove the uterus, others they remove everything. The estrogen production is different based on whether your ovaries stay or your ovaries don't stay. You still go into early menopause. You still have to look at this and look at what hormones are being produced and how to maintain that balance within your stomach and your digestive system so that your body can operate optimally. All right. Optimally for each one of us is different. All right. So now, one of the things that came up, a question that came up recently, is what is microbiome? Microbiota. What is this? All right. So your microbiome contains bacteria, right? Good bacteria, bad bacteria. What do they do? The bacteria within your gut is there so that it can consume, right? Absorb, consume, whatever phrase you want to use, consume nutrients from the food, the molecules of the food that you've eaten, that you've consumed, right? Whether it's chewing, whether it's drinking, it's the calories that you've consumed. The bacteria within your gut actually pulls out, and each one has a different role. It's like the estrobolome. It's a whole group. It specifically looks for estrogen. It's going to look for it, and it's going to latch onto it, okay? Foods that contribute to estrobolome and estrogen production. Soy. There are a number of you that I've said avoid soy. You are in active reproductive phase, meaning pre-menopause. You haven't even hit perimenopause yet. You do not need anything that's going to help produce estrogen. Soy is one of the herbal medicine world's estrogen producers. That's what it is used for. So if you are in a position where you are actively having a period month to month on a regular schedule, you have not hit perimenopause yet, doesn't even look like it's on the horizon, soy's out. When you get to the place where you can have soy on a regular basis, where it is helpful and beneficial to your body, at that point, you want to make sure that you're using organic sources, because nowadays a lot of the soy that's on our shelves is chemically produced and modified in various ways. There's a growing process that is just jacked up. I don't even know how else to say that. It's just jacked up. It's putting more pesticides within your food system versus taking them out. Is it necessary? No. So when you do go and consume soy products, and if you're in that active female reproductive phases, pre-menopause, you can still consume soy. Just make sure it's not a main contributor to a healthy diet. All right. That's something that can happen a little later on. There are actually women all over the world who consume soy on a regular basis, and they're fine. It's just they're consuming it in more minimal doses versus, larger doses. And once you hit perimenopause and active and postmenopause, that's not going to be a factor. That's really not going to be an issue. The only factor with soy will be the pesticides in the growing process. So just be very careful with those. So now, as a microbiome, it absorbs all these nutrients, right? It collects whatever that bacteria was designed to do. And then it spreads it through the food system, either as a instruction, as fuel, or as a cleanser. Just kind of depends. Depending on where it goes, your gut tells it where it needs to land. Your brain contributes to that as well. It goes around your body and it lands where it needs to go, right? This is why we talk prebiotic, probiotic, and digestive enzyme, because your prebiotics feed your gut bacteria. Your probiotics are gut bacteria, and your digestive enzymes help break down the food, right? It's an enzyme that actually specifically, so for me, I have the dairy enzymes, right? I have dairy digestive enzymes. It helps break down food that is related to dairy, the lactobacillia, not lactobacillia, the lactose components, the casein, the whey. It helps break down those molecules so that my body that struggles to do so can have an easier time of metabolizing it. And I only use it when I have an accidental consumption of it. It's something I definitely avoid because my reaction is pretty severe. So when you're looking at estrogen in connection to your gut, you really truly are looking at that estrobolome. But like I said, we talked about that so significantly before. Now with perimenopause and menopause, your estrogen and your progesterone are where you want to really look. Okay, you want to keep those at a balance. With perimenopause and active menopause, your estrogen dominance can be triggered more than a low estrogen levels. Hormones are all over the board, flashing here, flashing there, all sorts of stuff, right? So in order to maintain balance within that, you do want to maintain a healthy gut. So sometimes you might have to supplement with your probiotic and your prebiotic and your digestive enzyme. It's a little bit different. Everybody's different. You never know. All right. So now it's great. These estrogen receptors come in. If we maintain balance, then menopause and perimenopause and postmenopause symptoms become less severe. Some cases will actually be minimized to the point that you really don't experience them. But how does that work? And what if you're in perimenopause or active menopause and you're experiencing them now? How do you know? Well, look at your symptoms. So are you experiencing diarrhea? Are you experiencing constipation? Do you have gas? Loud, noisy, stinky, anything like that? Do you burp a lot? Do you hear gurgling in your stomach? Your energy. Are you exhausted? Despite the fact that you slept last night and you think you slept well, or, you're active on a regular basis, so you should be sleeping well. You eat healthy, so you should be sleeping well. But you're still having all these symptoms. Hot flashes out of control, sweating for no reason, like cold sweats. You're not sick, no reason for it. Cramping, skin issues. Oh my gosh, we could go on and on, right? Dry hair, dry, brittle hair and nails. It's not just the collagen and the biotin that affect our hair and our nails. Foggy brain, can't think straight. All of these things indicate an imbalance and something within that estrogen and progesterone levels within your body that is completely out of balance and throwing your microbiome off. Now, could that be the only indicator during perimenopause and active menopause? No. But in many cases, if you are experiencing the hot flashes, the sweats, the night sweats, I should say cold sweats and night sweats, if you're experiencing skin issues, if you're having any of the gut elimination symptoms that I just mentioned, then 9 times out of 10, what's happening is your gut is just in imbalance and just needs a little restoration. Okay. Once you have that nice little restoration, then those symptoms will diminish, and they start diminishing almost immediately. There's a couple of things that you can do. You can do your lemon ginger water first thing in the morning. You can make sure that you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, mostly plant-based. But here's a couple of things, because those are pretty general. If you're having gut health issues, regardless of where your body is at in your lifespan, those are pretty general. Mindset, activity, stress relief, things like that. You always want to have those as part of your day-to-day life. Let me see, what else? Hydration, making sure that you're doing some stress relieving activities, breathing, move, be active, trigger brain. So like brain activities as well as physical activities. You want cognitive function as well as physical function. And then you want emotional well-being as well, right? So all the points of the triangle. But what else can you do? There's something called phytotherapy, okay? And what phytotherapy is basically herbal medicine using herbs and food to help heal your body. And I say help heal the body because what you're doing with the herbs and the nutrition therapy, which is what it's called, what you're doing is you're actually providing your body the fuel it needs to restore that balance, right? To maintain that restored balance and to basically heal itself, all right? Our body is a phenomenal creature. It heals itself. If you've listened to me over the last couple of weeks, you've heard this fact. A liver, and this is just the liver, you guys, the lungs and other organs, same thing can happen. If your liver has been damaged up to 25%, so you only have 25% of that liver functioning, do you know that it can restore itself? It can heal itself. Our body's phenomenal. It heals itself all the time, every day, if we would only give it the tools to do so. So, what are the tools? So for perimenopause and active menopause, some of the things that you can do is with phytotherapy, you want to add in phytocrines. Phytocrines bind your hormone receptors. They can mimic hormone receptors. They effectively help your body believe that its hormone levels are balanced. Now, these actually come into play more so post-menopause or after your hysterectomy. Okay, once you've gone through the active menopause phase, early or otherwise, once you've gone through the active menopause phase, it's going to, the phytocrines are going to, why can't I say this? They're going to encourage hormone production. And here's a fun fact for you. Everyone thinks, and this kind of leads us into hysterectomy, everyone thinks that your ovaries are the only place that estrogen is produced. That's not true. Give me a sec. We're going to finish this and we're going to get into hysterectomies. I'm going to tell you what the other part is. Very interesting science is popping out the last 10, 15 years. Very interesting. All right. So now these phytocrines and phytotherapy, what can you consume? Plant-based diet, variety, wide variety, eat the rainbow. Yes, that is a thing. Eat the rainbow. All right. Some of the foods that you want to make sure you have in your diet that actually help with the female hormone system, endocrine hormone production, all of it. Flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, cruciferous foods, hemp seeds, raspberries. Raspberries are amazing, you guys. You'll see supplements out there that are the was it raspberry ketones? I believe it's what it's called. Raspberry is amazing. Another herb that specifically works to help female systems is chasteberry. Vitex, which is the Latin term. It's I wrote this down so I would get it correct. Vitex agnus castus. That is the Latin verbiage for chasteberry. You have the there's an essential oil. There are herbal supplements. There are teas. There is actually yogi tea has one that is women's health, and it includes chasteberry. It includes ashwagandha. It includes raspberries. It includes, I believe, acai and goji berries as well, both of which are very helpful for the female hormone system. They help restore balance. They help your body, provide your body some tools, some tricks, not tricks, some molecules to signal that balance is preferred. Okay. Ashwagandha and maca, maca is actually more for the female reproductive system. I highly recommend if you're going to consume maca, put it in something else because it tastes like dirt. The yogi tea actually tastes like a berry tea. So you can make it and put it over ice. Are things better warm? Sure. But, the one thing I've noticed personally is that when I drink things cold versus hot, I'm going to drink more of them cold. And it might take my body a little bit longer to digest, metabolize, and actually use what I consumed. But it's still effective. It still helps me. Peppermint tea still helps me. And yes, I drink that cold. If you have not tried water with a drop of peppermint in it, I highly recommend it. Don't do it right before bed. But 3:00 in the afternoon, when you're craving coffee, swap it out for a glass of ice cold water and a drop of peppermint. See what happens. It's actually pretty cool. All right. So all of these foods, the cruciferous, the berries, especially the raspberries, the gojis, and the noni berries, acai berries, the dark, really dark foods, the bright cherry red foods. So dark sweet cherries as well as sour cherries, you guys. The sours are going to be much more effective in helping that balance. So if you like to eat foods like me that will pucker your lips, go get some sour cherries. Your body will love you for it. All right. So now flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds. Here's why I'm mentioning those three. They actually contain a higher volume of protein content than many of the other plant-based foods. And what you're looking to do is increase your protein. So I'm not talking increase so that now you're eating a keto diet or you're eating Atkins style, anything like that. When our bodies are trying to heal from something, it needs fuel. So you want protein because protein is fuel. Carbohydrates are what's going to take said fuel and make it usable, right? Carbohydrates provide the energy to take the fuel and make it usable and actually push it out into the body where it can be absorbed and used, all right, to where it's actually a usable form. Now, when I say increased protein, I'm talking maybe an extra serving. I'm also talking about plant-based. When you're going through any transition that is hormonally driven, you want to minimize any food whatsoever that has hormones. Dairy, red meat, eggs, all of it. It doesn't matter what animal it is. If you choose to eat those, your choice, your diet, your health, it's not significant enough or shouldn't be significant enough that it pushes you overboard. Just make sure if you're eating the animal-based proteins and foods that what you're eating is hormone-free. Make sure they've been given 0 added hormones, because those added hormones get put into the food because we're animals. We consume something, it gets spread all over the body. So logic tells you if a cow is given hormone therapy to make it a bigger cow, to make the beef taste better, to make it look better, then that hormone is going to go into those muscles. And then when you eat said cow, it's dairy, it's meat, whatever the case may be, the cheese made from the dairy, from the cow that was given the hormones. When you do that, those hormones are then consumed by you. You are already in flux with hormones. You do not need to consume anymore. So make sure if you're going to eat animal products, avoid the hormones. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but I promise you it is definitely worth it. Now, when you're looking at animal products, you really only want to have 2 to 3 servings of it a day anyway. And there's those of you out there that actually do better with higher servings. Just like I said, make sure no hormones whatsoever. All right. So let's go into hysterectomies, shall we? Because that's the one area we haven't touched on yet, aside from just generally talking. So now when you have a hysterectomy, either it's your uterus is removed or your uterus, ovaries, and everything is removed. Okay. When you have that surgery, you're removing the main producer of estrogen. Remember, I told you ovaries aren't the only place where estrogen is produced. Now, what you've done when you've had a hysterectomy, and now I'm not saying this is by choice, because most hysterectomies are not, they're not by choice. They're a medical decision because your body is in trauma and it needs help. And this is the only way it's going to get help. This is not fun. It's not going to be fun going into early menopause. Post-menopause is the same whether you have had a hysterectomy or not. All right? It is the exact same. Those foods I just mentioned, you're going to want to eat those throughout post-menopause. Now, are the animal products going to be as impactful afterwards? They're not generally as impactful when you don't have hormones running through your system causing havoc to begin with. However, you still want to really regulate how much of them you're eating, because you can throw off your balance quick. All right. Post-menopause, whether it was triggered by hysterectomy or natural progression of life, you're still going to want to regulate that, because your estrogen levels are going to be so low that any sort of imbalance is going to throw your body into havoc. All right. So just be careful with that. So now with hormones, your hormones are not produced in your female reproductive organs. All right. For the most part, hormones are produced within that hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, right? 2 main players, thyroid and your adrenal, right? Pituitary, obviously, HPA, right? Now, when you have a hysterectomy, there is a drastic reduction in your estrogen production, your progesterone production, as well as your testosterone production, right? Estrogen and testosterone can convert to each other. The one hormone that is strictly produced within the ovaries is the estradiol, and that is reproductively driven. If you have a hysterectomy and that is removed, then you are not going to produce that. There's no question about that. That is not something that is going to be produced. Science has shown it's not produced anywhere else. That being said, when your ovaries are removed, right, estrogen's not produced within them anymore, obviously, because they aren't there. You still have estrogen found within your body. There's constantly a flow of estrogen throughout your body. So you're going to have a leftover estrogen within your skin, within, your other organs, within your muscle structure. And what's going to happen is your body's going to go through its natural daily cleanse, detox, absorb, metabolize, that healthy function, the vital functions it normally does, which is going to move it through the system. Your body is still going to produce estrogen. What happens is your brain sees that your ovaries aren't producing estrogen. So the hypothalamus starts producing estrogen. And it's producing estrogen molecules that are more neurotransmitters versus, the full spectrum of estrogen within your body or within your ovaries. They're using it as signals. Estrogen can be signals within your body. It can be fuel within your body. It actually does a lot for our body, especially producing, a healthier mood, a happier mood. That's part of the reason with a lot of women that come to me who have had a hysterectomy or who are going through the after effects of it. Then one of the things that I recommend is taking some sort of a stress support. Okay, ashwagandha, rhodiola, eat some cruciferous foods, sit, enjoy tea, make sure you have some stress management activities in your day. It takes time for other organs to take over production, right? Or for the hormone replacement therapy to take effect, for your brain to realize that, yes, your body has estrogen in its system, it's just not being produced from these organs. Now, in those cases, the studies that I found, it starts way back in 2014. It's when they first published that the brain can take over estrogen production. That does not mean that once you get through, your hysterectomy, they start hormone replacement therapy. So they start, providing you supplements with estrogen, that your body's not still going to produce its own. Most cases, it's questionable, but if your brain sees that it needs the neurotransmitter aspect of estrogen, it's going to produce it. All right. So this is why I said hysterectomy or not, this still applies to you, okay? You're still going to have estrogen in your system. Without having a balance of estrogen, you can produce a estrogen dominance, which estrogen balloon means it's being taken over by the bad guys, and we need the good guys to restore your balance. All right. Healthy balance is produced with prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, right? When you are in a state where you feel like your symptoms are off the chart, come back to basics, right? Just come back to basics. Get your plant-based 80%. Start having a lemon ginger tea first thing in the morning or mint tea first thing in the morning. Something that gives your body a nice, easy start to the day. Lines the gut, helps produce or helps provide the bacteria within the gut a healthy substance that's going to boost your immune system, that's going to maintain a healthy balance within there so that metabolization, digestion, and elimination is smooth function. You want everything to move and run smooth, just like a well-oiled machine, right? That's what we want, a well-oiled machine. Now, if we are a well-oiled machine, then we're not going to go all over the place with our mood. We're not going to go all over the place with hot flashes here and left and right. And are we still going to experience them? Probably. I mean, we live in this world and there's a lot of stuff in our environment that impacts us as well. So yeah, probably. But wouldn't it be nice if we could minimize all of that? And that's what I'm talking about here. So to wrap all of this up, what I want you to do, if you're suffering from hot flashes, you're getting ready to get into perimenopause like I am, I know it's coming, I'm just waiting for it. Or You're past it. You've been through menopause and now you're over it. But you're still feeling kind of wonky. This is where you start taking care of your gut, where you kind of take the next 3 to 6 months, and not kind of, you take the next 3 to 6 months and start focusing on healing your gut and just creating balance within that microbiome. Your diet is a great place to start. And I want you to start with being realistic with yourself. Look at what you're currently eating. Are there foods you can swap in and out to make sure that you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, something that is more plant-based, something that includes, the raspberries and the flax seeds and the hemp seeds and the pumpkins. I mean, we're in pumpkin territory, you guys. This is pumpkin season. Like, how fabulous is this? We have hit fall. And yes, pumpkin spice latte, DIY. I'll give you the recipe this week, I promise. It's actually, right now it's just coffee with seasonings and a little bit of almond milk. But I do make my own pumpkin spice latte, so I will give that recipe to you guys this week. And if you need help trying to produce a balance or trying to figure out what's even happening, hop over to the website. The link is going to be in the description below if you're on YouTube. And take the assessment. See where you're starting. I put in general recommendations in your results so you can see what your score is, and then you can see what it actually means. And at that point, you have access to the 14-day. Originally I said 7, but the actual program is 14 days. It's a free program that I offer to anyone who takes the assessment. You are more than welcome to hop in, check it out. If it's not for you, no big deal. I want you guys healthy. If you're suffering from any of these symptoms associated with perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, then let's get your gut healthy. Start with eating a healthy, balanced diet. Add in some pre and probiotic foods, the kefirs, the yogurt, sauerkraut, anything fermented really, truly helps. All you need is 1 serving a day. If hydration is an issue, add in 4 to 6 ounces of an electrolyte. Pickle juice, coconut water, lemonade with a pinch of salt. And yeah, it's that simple. Nutrition is not difficult. It's actually fairly easy. It's just understanding various elements and how they apply to you. Okay, so perimenopause, menopause, active menopause, post-menopause. Look at your diet. Get that balance back into check. And feed your body some of the foods that it's actually craving. Sound good? If you have questions, as always, let me know. You guys know how to find me. DM me through my profile or comment below. And if you say happy tummy on any of my videos, I will connect directly with you and we will have a little chat. All right. And I will send you the link for the assessment. Otherwise, the link will be below. I will chat with you guys later. Have a wonderful Monday. Cheers.